Hi, everyone, and welcome to today's research session for HI 222. Thanks for joining us. So my name is Keela Villa. I am a research services librarian for the Division of Arts and Social Sciences. So here you'll see my contact information, and if you need more help after this session is over, you can contact me for some virtual office hours. So the purpose of today is to prepare you for some of the research that you'll be doing in this class. So to kick that off, I just want to show you our course guide that's available for this class. So here is that link right here. This is the course guide for world history since 1900. As you'll see, it's got some information about the class, the assignments that require you to complete research, and it's got some different tools like how to choose a database for this class, different books and ebooks that might be helpful, web resources, primary sources, how to complete searches, evaluate your sources, really whatever you're looking for those basic research skills and those basic resources, we have that here. So I highly encourage you, check this out. This is going to be very helpful. So what I'm going to use today is I'm going to look at the assignments, and I'm going to look at the prompt for essay 1 and use that for our sample search and the questions that you have in the handout. So you should have a handout with 11 questions for this class, and so we'll be going through those one by one with a live search. All right, so we'll see at essay 1, what we are doing is we are comparing and contrasting British colonialism in India, South Africa, and China. Okay, well, first I need to know, where do I start? So let's look at question number 1. Which library databases are most helpful for searching secondary sources in history? All right, that's a good question. Let's find out. So I'm going to start by going to the library. Just to remind you how to get there, go to Offices and Resources, and then Rooney Library. Once you're here, let's go over to Databases. So we have over 100 databases, and these are just collections of data about particular subjects. So we are looking for history databases. A really great way to just weed out the extras will be by coming over here to where it says subjects. And we can search up history databases right here, and then click search. So you'll see here that we have 29 databases for history as of the recording of this video, and it will always have some best bets. These are like recommended by the librarians. We are positive you're going to find some of the best stuff here. So you'll see we have History Reference Source and JSTOR are recommended, but also right at the top is Academic Search Ultimate. And Academic Search Ultimate is a wonderful database. It has pretty much any topic that you can imagine. So when it comes to searching secondary sources in history, these 3 are going to be where we want to go. So it's going to be Academic Search Ultimate, JSTOR, and History Reference Source. Now, I do want to point out for this one, we are going to be looking at History Reference Source. So let me go ahead and open that up. Now, some of the nice things about these databases is a lot of them look exactly like our quick search feature. That's because they use a vendor called EBSCO. You'll see over here, My EBSCO. And so if you see My EBSCO, like I said, one of those features is that you can search multiple databases at once. So let me click here where it says Searching History Reference Source. You'll see that I have many databases that I can search. So for example, let's look at question 2. What history databases can be searched at the same time in the EBSCO interface? Let's take a look. So we know that we're looking for either Academic Search Ultimate or JSTOR. So I see Academic Search Ultimate here. Is there JSTOR? There is not. So JSTOR is not an EBSCO database. JSTOR is its own thing, but it's a wonderful database. For the purpose of today, we are just going to look in History Reference Source and Ultimate, or Academic Search Ultimate. All right, so those are where we're going to look for today. Now that I'm here, you'll see that I can search via both. I recommend at this point that you log in with your My EBSCO account. I'm going to go ahead and do that for the purpose of this video. I have had the same EBSCO account since I was in high school. So as you see, it has my maiden name. The really cool thing about EBSCO is you can save articles and it's going to show up in your saved. So when I come here, you're going to be able to see literally every single article that I have researched and saved since I created my account in high school. So this is just a wonderful place to go whenever you are doing research. Now, whenever you log in or create your account, it is going to boot you out of where we just were. So let me just go back, add Academic Search Ultimate again. Okay, so with that in mind, question number 3. When searching from sources in library databases, you can type the full research question into the search box, just like Google, and obtain many relevant results. Okay, so let's think about this one. Here's what I'm going to do. I'm just going to take a portion of the prompt right here, compare and contrast British colonialism in India, South Africa, and China. And let's see what it is. Just going to put it right in here. 0 results. So the answer to that is going to be false. Now, what happens in library databases is it's looking more for keywords. So whenever you put in a full sentence or a very long phrase like this or your research question, the database is just not going to really be able to pull anything from that. We're giving it too much information. So let me reset this. Let me click on advanced search to kind of clear this out. And let's look at what we should do instead. So question number 4 says it is best practice to separate key concepts from the research question or thesis and use a different search box for each. Okay, so let's find out. Here, let's look up, let's just start with British colonialism here. Now, if we're going to be breaking things into other boxes, how about in the second box, I try India in the second one. Okay, just to try it out by breaking that up into 2 different concepts, and I'm going to have 156 results. Okay, so that already is doing better than what I had before. So the answer to this is going to be true. And that's because we are giving the database keywords to look at instead of this super long search string, and it's trying to figure out how to combine all these words and process that information. Focus on keywords whenever you are doing database searches. Okay, so now that we have our results, it's time to start filtering some things out. So to obtain peer-reviewed journal content in most library databases requires simply checking a box with the appropriate label. Let's find out. So here with these filters, you'll see right away, peer-reviewed. Very simple, just a box to choose. You'll see it brought me down from 156 to 114. So question number 5 is true. Peer-reviewed is always going to be an excellent filter to start with. And speaking of peer review, peer-reviewed scholarly or academic journal articles have been through a blank check. So what does that mean? Peer review essentially means that it has been through a quality control check. So these articles have been written by experts in the field, maybe your own professors, and then what happens is other experts in the field, other professors, other researchers read through that, they give feedback, they essentially help ensure that the information is accurate before it's published. Of course, we know that nowadays anyone can publish anything, and so it can be hard to know what is correct. And so peer reviewed essentially just means that it's had those extra checks, the quality is there. So it's going to be ideal for you to choose that for your research. All right, so other helpful limiters to apply when searching include, let's look at what we've got over here. So some options are language, publication date, full text availability, and source type. I always recommend full text. Why? Because that means you're going to get the full article. It's going to be available right away. You're not going to open up the article and it's just that abstract or a portion. So if you don't want to wait on the article, if you don't want to do it interlibrary loan, this is always going to be ideal. Use full text. So some of the other things, I kind of skipped around a little bit. Let's look at language. So if you only speak English, this is definitely going to be an important one. You can come over here to language, and you can choose that language. Now, if you were in Spanish class or French class, for example, and maybe you're doing historical research related to those countries, then it might be good to look for things written in Spanish or French. But for the most part, we are just going to be looking for things in English. Now, publication date, where you're going to look for that is going to be here, all time. So you can choose things like past 12 months, past 5 years, past 10 years, or if you come over here to all filters, let's say that you are looking for something historical. You are doing a paper on World War II and you need things written during that time. You could do a custom range of 1939 to 1945. But for the most part, I'm going to look for something that is recent. So I'm going to use the last 5 years to see the most relevant up-to-date research. The last one is source type. So a lot of times, once we've done all these filters, all that's going to be left is our academic journals. Those, again, are part of academic, essentially academic magazines is really what they are, and they're called periodicals or journals. And so these are going to be fairly short, maybe 5 to 20 pages or so, depending on the content. You can also search for books, videos, things like that within the databases as well, just depending on what you're looking for and what's left at the end. So with this in mind, let's see if I can get this to go to our next one. There we go. Other helpful limiters to apply include all of the above. All right, for some reason it is not wanting to go for me, but hey, we will try this instead. Number 8, when evaluating a source, the blank can be helpful in quickly determining the relevance of an item since it provides a brief summary of the source. All right, let's go back in and let's find one. So for the purpose of this, I'm just going to click on the first one. We're going to find out some more. So I can come down here to something called the abstract. The abstract is essentially a summary, sometimes written by the author or the publisher, that just kind of shows, okay, this is the basis of my article. So before you go and read potentially a 20-page article, it's always going to be wise to visit that abstract first. All right, so let's visit that abstract when evaluating that source because it provides that summary. It's just a way to work smarter and more efficiently. All right, so when selecting a source for historical research, which of the following evaluative criteria is likely not as important? We actually just talked about this. Whenever we were looking at, let me go back, whenever we were looking at the filters, for example, publication date, if I wanted something that was custom, for example, if I want things about the Vietnam War that were written when that happened, you could choose the years for that. So really, when it comes to historical research, currency, which is how current is it, that's going to be what is not as important. Now, of course, always check with your professor and see what is your professor asking for, something current, more historical, but there is a little bit of leeway here with this particular subject. All right, so which citation style is used for papers written in HI 222? All right, so if you don't already know from being in the class, one way that you can find out is to go to that course guide, go to citation help, and it'll take you directly over to the style guide that's used for class. So most classes at SMWC will use APA. There are a select few that use MLA, but for the most part, you will be using APA. So citation generators within library databases should never be used because their use constitutes an academic dishonesty. All right, let's take a look over here. So what does it even mean by these citation generators? Well, let's go into a source and you'll see over here these little quotation marks. It's hard to see under my massive mouse right here, but I have little quotation marks. And so you'll see here, you can choose whatever citation style you are using. So for this, let me choose the APA 7th edition, and you'll see that you can copy that to your clipboard and you'll be able to use it. Now, getting help from the library is always the best way to go. That's what we are here to help you with. And these citation generators, they are not cheating. It is an option available for you. So feel free to use that. It's not dishonest. We do always suggest that you check citation generators against the style guide because it is created by AI, it is created by the computer. So sometimes it may not be exactly accurate. So just double check those things just to ensure that everything is ready to go for your paper. All right, so that was just a basic walkthrough of how do I research for this class. I hope you have a wonderful day and thank you for watching.